he got asked about Tulsi Gabbard. And the reporter, the journalist said, there are foreign allies who are very nervous about sharing intelligence with her. And he said, oh, I don't know. I'm surprised to hear it. I heard that for the first time the other day. I mean, I think she's a great American. I think she's got tremendous common sense. This woman with tremendous common sense, Tulsi Gabbard, went to Syria, met with Assad, legitimized him as a member of Congress, then came back here and advocated for him. You're telling me this woman went over there, came back and advocated for him, and she's got common sense? Our foreign allies are right to be nervous about sharing intelligence with her.
Well, she's a weird one because she has so many characteristics that you would think that everyone who's a progressive would want as a president. She is a veteran who twice served overseas, twice deployed. She's been a veteran for a long time congresswoman. She's from Hawaii. She's Hawaiian. You would say she's a woman of color.
They say she's a woman of color.
She's a very articulate, rock-solid woman, and they've tried to find a bunch of dirt on her, and they can't. They don't know what to do.
What do you get when you mix Joe Rogan, The View, and a $50 million lawsuit? A nuclear roast with a splash of legal fireworks. Tulsi Gabbard just went full savage, slapping The View with a lawsuit so massive Whoopi's wig nearly applied for witness protection. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's got front row seats and a flamethrower of sarcasm, and he's not holding back. Buckle up and grab your popcorn. This isn't just a legal battle. It's a courtroom roast with consequences.
And we'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts. Because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you the question?
No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence to know what's going on.
It finally happened. Someone took The View seriously enough to sue them. And not just any lawsuit, this is a $50 million, PR smashing, legal beast courtesy of Tulsi Gabbard. Apparently, she got tired of being tossed around like a fun fact in a gossip column by a table of daytime TV screamers. If you were wondering how long it would take for someone to drop a subpoena instead of a spicy tweet, wonder no more.
Yeah, did you watch the episode when Tulsi Gabbard got on to defend herself and Joy Behar starts panicking and going over her notes while Tulsi is refuting everything that she said?
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform. I mean, it is crazy. They have no idea. These people have never read, like, a book.
And there's versions of it.
Naturally, it didn't take long for Joe Rogan to jump on this blazing bandwagon of televised chaos, and he looked right at home, laughing his way through the wreckage like a guy who warned the house of cards would fall. Rogan brought all the subtlety of a sledgehammer wrapped in podcast merch. He ripped into The View hosts like they were a sampler platter of media malpractice, and he wasn't pulling any punches.
Because she is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
Well, I guess we're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing.
But let's rewind a bit. The View that glorified group chat in a studio has made a whole cottage industry out of firing off half-baked takes before the coffee even kicks in. Somewhere along the way, they decided Tulsi Gabbard was a threat to democracy, decency, and apparently brunch. While they were busy turning actual defamation into filler between celebrity gossip and casserole recipes, Tulsi Gabbard was quietly sharpening her legal knives.
Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
Joy, this is why,
I mean, you're on Tucker Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary Clinton started it, and then you shot back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. It's why I ran for Congress.
She didn't storm the set. She didn't unleash a TikTok tirade. She filed a lawsuit like an adult. A very expensive adult. The kind who comes armed with receipts, legal counsel, and the composure to turn passive-aggressive jabs into court-admissible evidence, while the hosts of The View were busy perfecting the fine art of eye rolls and interrupting each other mid-cliché. Tulsi Gabbard was lawyering up and Joe Rogan. He practically popped a bottle of metaphorical champagne. The man's been poking holes in mainstream media narratives for years, and The View is his Mount Everest of cognitive dissonance. He's said it before, if you want to witness the intellectual decay of public discourse, just watch The View try to talk foreign policy, like it's a banana bread recipe. So when news of the $50 million lawsuit dropped, Rogan nearly needed a seatbelt to keep from falling out of his chair laughing. Finally, someone had the audacity, the receipts, and the legal firepower to challenge a show that confuses yelling over each other with winning arguments. Tulsi didn't just bring a legal threat, she delivered a reminder that the sandbox rules of daytime TV don't apply when the real world calls for consequences.
Because she's also a Russian asset.
So really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I've served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years, receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, working to ensure the safety and security of the people of this country. This is why I'm running for president, to continue that commitment of service.
Rogan roasted The View without mercy, not just for alleged defamation, but for being a cultural punchline dressed up as informed commentary. He compared their debates to a Thanksgiving family argument, only with fewer facts and more commercial breaks. With trademark sarcasm, he dissected their formula: take a headline, sprinkle in ignorance, stir with personal bias, and serve it lukewarm to a half-awake audience. This wasn't just criticism, it was a full-blown evisceration. Rogan lit up the hosts like a bonfire built from buzzwords and cue cards. He called out the show as a safe space for baseless accusations, masquerading as moral high ground, where applause and dramatic pauses pass for sourcing. Each host, he said, plays oracle of truth while cycling through surface-level sound bites and reheated Twitter arguments. And let's be real, Tulsi Gabbard isn't exactly an easy person to slander casually. She's a former congresswoman, a military veteran, and someone who's spent more time around real policy than most of the hosts have spent fact-checking a script. Her decision to step away from party orthodoxy made her a prime target for a media echo chamber that treats dissent like a virus.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a rabies-infested hen.
What The View did wasn't just a bad take, it was a full-blown character hit job dressed up as concern. Tulsi Gabbard's lawsuit essentially says, congrats, you played yourselves, now say it to a judge. She didn't go on a press tour. She didn't fire off passive-aggressive tweets. She went straight to court. And that's when Joe Rogan shifted from amused observer to full-blown hype man. To Rogan, this wasn't just about Tulsi, it was a long-overdue strike against a media machine powered by spin, superficiality, and opinion, masquerading as fact. He backed her lawsuit like it was a public service announcement. While others complain in group chats and Reddit threads, Tulsi actually did something, and Rogan made sure everyone noticed. He tore into The View hosts for playing experts on complex issues when their commentary rarely goes deeper than whatever's trending on Twitter. He didn't just mock their takes. He dismantled their entire model. In Rogan's eyes, The View isn't a talk show, it's a morality cosplay convention, where facts are optional and volume equals victory. Tulsi, on the other hand, played it like a strategist. No theatrics, no viral monologues, just cold, hard paperwork. While the hosts rebranded outrage as awareness, she secured legal standing. And that's exactly why Rogan respected her move. It wasn't just a clapback hit, was a surgical strike on daytime TV nonsense, and it landed.
The View has to be, if you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly.
Meanwhile, The View carried on like it still existed in a consequence-free bubble where flippant remarks vanish into the ether. But here's the problem. This wasn't gossip about a celebrity outfit or a throwaway pop culture jab. They made real claims that could damage someone's livelihood and reputation, and for once, someone called their bluff. Tulsi's lawsuit ripped back the curtain on just how recklessly these platforms wield their influence, and Joe Rogan, the unofficial patron saint of media skepticism, seized the moment to spotlight the entire ecosystem. He called out daytime TV shows like The View for turning outrage into entertainment, peddling speculation as courage, and mistaking clapbacks for actual debate. But with signature sarcasm, Rogan joked that The View might want to hire a legal advisor to sit next to their wardrobe stylist, or better yet, a civics tutor, because when your idea of journalism is interrupting your co-host while mispronouncing foreign policy terms, you probably shouldn't be surprised when someone slaps you with a lawsuit. But Rogan didn't stop there. He launched into a comedic tear-down of the whole daytime talk show formula, a panel of hosts trying to outrage each other, armed with cue cards scribbled by someone who once skimmed the news over lunch. He mocked the show's delusion that it's shaping national discourse. In reality, it struggles to navigate a topic without drowning in buzzwords.
Culture shift between right and left authoritarianism, and now people don't recognize that if you just stopped looking at it in terms of red and blue, look at the actions, whether it's war, suppression of free speech, pharmacological interventions that are mandatory, right. whatever it is, that used to all be associated with the authoritative right, the authoritarian right, and now those things are being embraced by the left. And I just think it's just an ideology thing, and I think we get confused and we think we're on the right side. We're on the right side, and if it's our side that's saying this, for sure that's the right thing to do.
Tulsi, on the other hand, was cold, calculated, and precise. No yelling, no theatrics, just a legal filing that flipped The View's soapbox into a witness stand. She didn't just step into the ring. She brought blueprints and started remodeling, while the hosts were still shouting over each other. Where the show relied on volume, Tulsi relied on strategy. Joe Rogan treated the entire saga as a teachable moment, and the lesson was clear. Being on television doesn't exempt you from consequences. Clapping on camera doesn't make your take valid, and feigned concern won't shield you when that concern turns defamatory. This wasn't just a clash of personalities, it was a cultural Rorschach test. Do you see a strong woman standing up to media bullying, or a thin-skinned ex-politician looking for a payday? If you're Joe Rogan, it's absolutely the former, and he's far from alone. The number of people who cheered when news of the lawsuit broke could fill a stadium, or at the very least, a passionately sarcastic subreddit. What made it even more satisfying? The View never saw it coming. They probably assumed the glow of studio lighting would shield them. But courtrooms aren't lit for drama. They're lit for facts, evidence, and accountability. 3 things the show seems to struggle with once the teleprompter runs out of sass.
That show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in, and they always bring on a token conservative woman, and they yell over her and silence her, and they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's a bizarre show.
Rogan's mockery came with a grin, but it also came with receipts. He pointed out how daytime shows often skate by with the shallowest grasp of complex issues, then act shocked when someone calls out their nonsense. For him, this lawsuit was long overdue. Tulsi's move wasn't a publicity stunt. It was a warning shot. One that could reverberate through every studio with a comfy couch and a hot mic. And the fallout. It's only just getting started. Media insiders are clutching their pearls and double-checking their insurance policies. Legal teams are probably binge-watching old episodes, hunting for every oops moment. Meanwhile, Rogan's likely gearing up for his next podcast episode, something like, "Why screaming on daytime TV isn't a legal defense." Now that's when the popcorn gets swapped for champagne. This lawsuit isn't just about Tulsi or a few daytime divas tossing out poorly rehearsed hot takes. It's about blasting a hole through the fragile wall of media immunity. This isn't just a spat between a guest and some chatty hosts, it's like suing the circus for letting clowns hold press conferences. Finally, someone's dragged a microphone into court and asked, "Are you legally allowed to be this ridiculous?" And the cultural stakes, they couldn't be higher.
Worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in
Tulsi's lawsuit throws open the door for every public figure who's ever been turned into a tabloid chew toy. The message is clear. Go ahead, sling your sloppy accusations on national TV, but don't be shocked when someone files a lawsuit with more footnotes than your entire research team ever bothered to read. For too long, media personalities have lived in a fantasy land where being wrong came with no consequences, only ratings. Now, that fantasy comes with an itemized, notarized receipt stamped with a $50 million price tag. And Joe Rogan, he's loving every second. This is the guy who built his empire by actually listening to people for longer than 3 minutes. Watching The View scramble under legal scrutiny must feel like watching an improv troupe get audited. The idea that they might need a fact checker or, better yet, someone who actually finished a Wikipedia article before going live is almost too perfect. Rogan jokes that maybe now they'll hire a lawyer who doesn't get their legal updates from Instagram Reels. The broader message is simple and devastating. Smear campaigns aren't just annoying background noise anymore, they're lawsuits waiting to happen. We've reached a point where saying something recklessly false on TV isn't just ethically gross, it's financially stupid. Especially when the person you're attacking keeps receipts like a tax auditor with a grudge. This lawsuit is cultural dynamite. It's turning the talk show table into a courtroom, the gossip segment into Exhibit A, and the coffee mug into a liability hazard. When platforms this loud act this recklessly, someone's bound to push back, and Tulsi Gabbard just made sure. The View heard it all the way in the green room. Tulsi's move wasn't just legal, it was symbolic. And Joe Rogan was more than happy to be the hype man, using his platform to mock, dissect, and dance on The View's collapsing credibility like a man who's been waiting for this moment since 2016. As for The View, they're stuck in that awkward space between a spin cycle and a subpoena. No witty segment can spin this into a feel-good story. No guest star can distract from the court filings, and no amount of applause can drown out the sound of accountability knocking. Joe Rogan celebrated it not as an isolated lawsuit, but as a cultural reckoning. And the best part, he didn't even have to raise his voice. He just laughed, pointed, and let the truth do the damage. So here we are. Tulsi Gabbard filed the paperwork. Joe Rogan popped the popcorn. And The View, they might want to start reviewing their legal options. Because it turns out the real daytime drama isn't on TV anymore, it's in court.